Alright, so this is what I'm really excited about. Street Fighter cross Megaman. Of course, there was that stage where I believe Zero could throw a Shoryuken, and Megaman could throw a Hadouken. And so, and that was the official crossover. But this is made by a very special friend, Sonic, all the way from Singapore. And these guys are testing it out. I know that this is super hard, but this guy, this dude in the somehow understands Ryu. He's already doing the slide to get under the hurricane kick. I played this before. The AI is incredibly difficult. Ooh, gets blown apart. And they're running on these Alienware 51s as he tries again. Where is our producer? Not here. Wow, look at how many panels there are. 1, 2, 3. Nate's lining up. He's like, yo, I'm going to get in this. So, wow, look at the reception. Now, this year for Street Fighter, 25th anniversary, but Megaman, I believe, is a little bit older. They're having their 25th anniversary as well. So this is sort of the mesh between both. Man, this is the longest line. Can you guys just introduce yourselves and say what position you do at Capcom?
I'm Brett Elston, Senior Online Community Manager at Capcom.
I'm Christian Svensson, Senior Vice President of Consumer Software at Capcom.
I'm Seow Zong Hui, developer for Street Fighter Cross Megaman.
When you guys go outside and you see the 6 kiosks with lines behind each and every one of them, what does it feel like? Did you ever imagine that it would have such a big reception?
I didn't know about what it looked like, so I was very impressed. I felt very happy about it. Yeah. And it was quite touching for me because I've been working on the game for quite some time. Yeah.
I think it's validating, frankly. We have a lot of discussions internally about the strength of the brand, and I think that both brands really, but Mega Man in particular. We think that it proves out what we've been saying all along in a lot of ways. So validated. That's how I describe my feeling about it.
Yeah, I think hits the nail on the head. I mean, as a fan, it's the first time since I've come to Capcom that there's been some good news on the Mega Man front to share, and to see people react so positively and immediately. I mean, they ran out of the room to go get in line like right away. It was pretty touching.
Speaking about that, you say that it's a positive note for Mega Man. We're here at Street Fighter 25th anniversary, but the Mega Man, correct me if I'm wrong, 25th anniversary is also coming up?
Yeah, it starts on December 17th.
Okay. So can we expect equal resources pulled towards Mega Man in the same way that we've seen this crazy 25th anniversary for Street Fighter? And is this project the start of it?
Yes, it's what I would say on that front is it's different. Obviously, the fighting game community in the scene here is a different animal than what you see in the Mega Man universe. I will say that we have loads and loads of activities, projects, products that we're looking at that will be talked about over the next 12 months starting, and the first bits of that we'll share on December 17th. This game it represents sort of the close of the Street Fighter 25th and the beginning of the Mega Man 25th. It's kind of the perfect bookend, if you will, to
nice
sort of between the two. And that this is the beginning, not the end of what we're starting to talk about for Mega Man.
Sonic, can you talk about the producer for Mega Man and your relationship with him? I mean, it might not be a personal one, but how you view KG Infinite on a personal level?
I think how he feels about the Japan industry is quite valid because I mean he thinks that there's some points that he should learn from the US company, like I mean the traditional Japanese company, they have their own way of doing things, and I think he has a better view on what's the direction that they should go about, yeah, for on the Japan side, yeah.
So Capcom recently has been recruiting people from within the community to be an official employee. I don't know if it's revealed yet, but I've seen Kamufine working around, of course Hans as well. What is Capcom's policy about? Is it a new thing where they're sort of trying to source the community directly instead of saying, getting some resume from LinkedIn or something, but rather cherry picking from the community?
Oh, not at all. It's not new at all. I mean, if you look back, when I hired Seth Killian back in 2007, I mean, we went to Seth and said, oh no, it was later, it was earlier than that, 2006, I guess it was. We were looking to Seth, for the credibility that he brought and the understanding that he had and the relationships that he had within the fighting game community. Similarly, we hired most of our community managers. I think actually Brett is pretty much the sole exception, have come out of our own existing brand communities. Brett, although Brett was Seth's pick, kind of as in terms of having, what it takes in terms of knowledge of our franchises and investment in franchises, and in particular Megaman being one of the ones that he's really invested in. So it's not a new thing at all. I just say, I think what you're just seeing is the latest happenings in what has been a trend that we've been doing for, 5 or 6 years at this point.
And what did you see? I mean, there's a lot of Mega Man fans, a lot of Street Fighter fans. What did you see in Sonic that made you say, okay, we need to bring this guy on board?
Yeah, it's not just the number of fans. There's as you know, there's a ton of fan games out there, and we, believe it or not, we play amongst the people internally, QA, our even me. We play loads of them just for fun. That's not for work. When his prototype came in, and we were looking at the levels that he had, there was a whole different level of polish, a whole different, better understanding of what makes a Mega Man game, and the clever integration of even fighting game elements within that. All of a sudden, you've got your Street Fighter knowledge, intertwining and working with your Mega Man knowledge. It's kind of a weird thing, but it's so well executed that it just sort of stood, head and shoulders above anything else we'd seen before. That's why we're having a different conversation with him than we would or have with, other fan projects.
Sonic, how are you able to balance schoolwork while working on this project and meeting, the deadlines for Capcom, but also, your professors are telling you to turn in the project? How are you able to juggle both academics and real life work?
Okay. First of all, I set aside some time for academics, so that I try not to fail anything at all. That's the most important thing. And as for my final year project, I tried to request to work on it more during my holidays. I try to put more of the urgent stuff first, and those that are important but not as urgent, I try to put it at the end. I even took up an elective on mind over stress, to cope with all this. Yeah, and it's quite an interesting subject.
So recently, Sony has entered a partnership with Nanyang Polytechnic to sort of nurture local game programmers in Singapore. What do you think that the Singapore government needs to do in order to cultivate, people such as yourself, next generation? Is it just money, or do you guys need facilities?
Okay. For me, I think that
contacts?
They might need to create the awareness that there's a possibility to move into this field earlier on, maybe secondary school or something. Because even in Polytechnic, I didn't know it's even possible to make a game. I always thought it's some doctor or lawyer kind of job. It's unreachable. You can't even do anything. It's too difficult. You need some Einstein. You need to be Einstein or something. At that moment, I thought game is that difficult. Yeah. So when I was first introduced to the development and when I know about coding, I find that it's much easier than I thought. So maybe if there's some exposure that, to the secondary school people, that this is actually possible if they want to do it earlier, and I think that will be a good way if Singapore want to move into this industry more in the future.
When Mega Buster and a Hadouken collide, who wins? What happens? Because that's the sort of theme that you guys have going on.
It balances off. Yeah.
Is it like the Big Bang? Does everyone die, or does it just dissipate?
It just cancel out each other, like how it works in Street Fighter.
What, for people that have played the game and they want it to go beyond a side project and see it turn into a real full-life game, maybe in a DLC form or in a disc form, what needs to be done in order for that to happen? Are there certain numbers that need to be done, like group surveys? What, for any game really that starts from this level, a grassroots level, to a real-life game?
And when you say a very live game, I want to be careful here, because this is a full game. It's as big as Mega Man 9 or 10 in that regard in terms of the amount of content that's there. This is not a cut down anything. Now, if you're asking me what does it take to get on console platforms or something of that nature, or
where someone would pay money, because I'm sure there's people that want to be like, yo, I want this game on my console.
We could have charged for this. There's the content is good enough. The quantity of content is there is certainly worthy of being charged for. We've just opted to, this is a gift from us to the fans, just to celebrate what's there. Now, as far as, if we wanted to do a follow-up or a sequel or a spin-off or expand the number of platforms that we're on, we'd have to take a look at what the interest rates are in this. So to some degree, one of the things that we're going to be tracking for metrics in terms of our success is how many downloads happen at CapcomUnity.com. Now, this is a completely DRM-free file. We know it's going to go far and wide. The message that we're trying to get out is help us understand how far and wide it's going, and download directly from us. Don't download from another source if you're able. We look at just that click to us just sort of demonstrates support, and that's another metric that we can take to my bosses to see what else we can do. Right now, this whole project came about in a very organic way, and anything that follows is probably also going to happen in a very organic way. We're just going to take it one day at a time and see what happens.
Sonic, lastly, would you like to give any thanks? Friends, family, girlfriend, dog?
Okay. Special thanks to the musician, Luke Escovet, and Gio, the background artist. Yeah, and shout out to all the people in the FGC as well as Team DM from Singapore, which they currently work with Catz as well. Yeah. Thank you, and anything to talk about? We're good. Okay. Thank you.